Hussbus bus stop.
Alright, what is up, everybody? JP Hussey here of the Hussey Team Mortgage Advisors with this week's Hussbus bus stop. We're going to nail it one of these days, Lens, I'm telling you. Anyway, couple things real quick. Tax day, May 17th. It got pushed back from April 15th this year to May 17th. That's the deadline. So make sure you get your taxes in. I know my accountant, and I'll tell you my personal story. I'm waiting till the last second. I've been busy and hit him up today, and he's like, this is the year of procrastination, which it probably always is for CPAs and accountants, right? So be easy on them. It's different for them this year as well. A lot of tax codes could be changing. I don't know everything there. But get them in. All right. If not, make sure you file an extension. May 17th, this year's tax day. Number 2, we have a bunch of no strings attached t-shirts left. All right. Which all of the proceeds go to support the local food bank in Conshohocken, the Colonial Neighborhood Council. Been working with them for a lot of years. They're awesome. Grassroots. Deal with, don't quote me on this, I said it before, I think 5 boroughs. They help out a ton of people. They've really motivated us to do our small part. So, a lot of t-shirts left, all right? You can go to the HusseyTeam.com/no strings attached. You can buy them there. All the money goes to them. It's a cool shirt. It's got the Hussey Team logo on the side. No strings attached up here. Really cool. So, make sure you do that and do your small part as well. All right, today, I want to break it down a bit, all right? We try to give good, high-quality info, but not, I'm not the smartest person alive, so I need it in simple format as well. So that's what we try to do. Give good content, usable information, advice that we've seen on a real-time basis, all right? So first things first. I think a lot of people forget what a mortgage actually is, all right? It's basically a loan, right? Secured by property. All right. So if I Google mortgage, I'm going to read it to you. Right. A legal agreement by which a bank or other creditor lends money at interest in exchange for taking title of the debtor's property with the condition that the conveyance of title becomes void upon the payment of the debt. All right. So when you get a mortgage, all right, it's primarily owned by you. That's where it says it becomes void upon it's paid back. It's yours, but the bank owns it as well in some way, shape, or form. All right. So what is a loan? All right. And I try to put this in simple format. A loan is when someone gives you money with some interest there, right? Because you couldn't pay for it cash. You have cash, you could pay for it. All right. Maybe you're not in that position, but someone gives it to you with some interest in the hopes that it's paid back. So it's very much risk-based, all right? No one's really entitled to a mortgage, all right? I mean, you could question VA a bit, but that's different guidelines as well, but there's entitlement involved. We can get into that later. But, someone's giving you money, all right? So the point of bringing this up, right, is, hey, be easy on your loan officer, all right? Be easy on your mortgage broker, all right? Because what that person is trying to do, right, when they're dealing with you one-on-one, is they're the middle person between you and the money. I've heard some people say the one in the middle, loan officer, mortgage broker, is the one trying to help you break into the vault. Maybe a bad analogy, right? But it's kind of what they're doing. They're trying to navigate the guidelines that are put in place, and most of the guidelines come from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. Google them, know what they are, right? But they are the ones, setting those guidelines, all right? And those are the ones that all these loan officers have to follow, and you have to follow, all right? There is some gray areas sometimes, all right? But for the most part, they're pretty black and white. You can find these guidelines if you Google, too, like Fannie Mae guidelines. Google it. Has every guideline that that the loan officers are helping you navigate through, all right? And it's very, 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 very complex, right? And it's made to be complex because there's thousands, hundreds of $1,000s being given to someone, right? In the hopes that it's being paid back, all right? So I want you to remember that, right? That person that's trying to get you there is trying to get there. And that could be their paycheck, right? They want to do that. They have some skin in the game to get you there. Now, we could talk about big banks and mortgage brokers and correspondent lenders and how much skin maybe some of them have more in the game than others. That's another discussion. You could always call me on that, on my opinion, right? But that's what a mortgage is, and that's what's happening. So in a simple term, make sure you remember that, all right? It's not that person's fault. They're trying to figure it out. Now, they should do a good job up front knowing guidelines as best they can, putting you in a good position before they say you're pre-approved. But then again, anything can happen from the time you're pre-approved until you're fully approved, that clear to close at the end. All right? So just know if you're going to buy a house and you need a mortgage and you can't use cash, all right, go with the flow. All right? Question, of course, but know that guidelines just can't be made up out of thin air, all right? Because there's hundreds of thousands of dollars being given out in the hopes that it's paid back. And that lender lends the money, then, it's bundled up. There's pools of mortgages being sold on the secondary market. That's a whole nother discussion. You can Google that and your mind will be blown, all right? But that's what I want to talk a bit about today of what a mortgage is, because it's a loan. Someone's giving you money in the hopes that you pay it back. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, all right? Now, next part. As we roll over to that, right, let's talk about self-employment, all right? As we're talking about guidelines, right? So self-employment clients have taken some big hits over the past. It's always been tough, all right? But they've taken some major hits on guidelines, and they've been changed pretty quickly over the past year and a half. And I hate to blame COVID, but yes, that's why, right? Unfortunately, a lot of businesses have gone under, have struggled. There's been ways like the PPP loans, all the different loans given out to help them. That's helped, but they've struggled, right? So banks have to look at that, unfortunately. They can't just say, oh, you're a good person. You've done well over the bunch of years. We're just going to give you money, right? It goes back to those guidelines and what a loan is, right? So self-employment has been tough, right? One big thing we've seen, and we'll see if this goes away, right, is they want to see how you're doing right now. They want to see the past couple years, of course, but since COVID was such a different time, right, they're really checking to see how you've done in the last 3 months or so, right? And they're going to get profit and loss statements from you. Sometimes from your account, which sometimes can be tough, right? Because they don't want to sign off on that. But they'll have a certain P&L from, like, if you use QuickBooks with income and expenses, and they're going to take the last 3 months, right, to know where you're going now, because they're giving you the money now in the hopes later you're paying it off, right? So that's one of the newer guidelines, looking at like the last 3 months, right, profit and loss, see how your business is doing, along with bank statements showing that income coming in, showing the expenses going out, right? So it matches up on the P&L, so there's no fraudulent activity, okay? So that's a big guideline, and it's been tough. And unfortunately, with a lot of the guidelines, it's not looking at the type of business that you have. I'm sure they do a bit, but it's been pretty standard across the board for anyone that's self-employed, no matter what type of business that you're in. So just hang in there if you're self-employed. Keep working hard. Keep rolling. If you need help supporting your business, we love to support people. Hit me up. Happy to do something like that if I believe in your business. But just go with the flow. Get everything in order. And don't be surprised if you can't get a loan if unfortunately you haven't made any money recently or in the past couple years, right? That's a big factor, right? If you don't have money, how are you going to pay back that mortgage, that loan, all right? So self-employment has been tough, all right? So one thing to look at, a couple things I wanted to go over, what a mortgage is, what a loan is, where self-employment's come into play. Next couple weeks, we do these every 2 weeks. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what a mortgage broker is, what a bank is, what's a correspondent lender. I'd love to get into that so you can make an educated decision on if you're going to buy a house or refinance, who you should go to. Hope you have a great day. Later.
Hussbus bus stop.